Well, special welcome back to Prime Morning. It's still News Flash. We're going to get into the discussion segment and, of course, get into some of the issues that have come out of the news headlines. We'll get into the newspapers. But first, one of the stories that have dominated the headlines has to do with the latest findings by Global Info Analytics relative to the president's approval ratings. And the last time they did it was in July, and if you compare it to the ratings now in September, appears to have been a bit of a decline. Seems to suggest that some number of Ghanaians are expressing displeasure with the way things are going on in the country. But overall, if you look at the data, it seems the president's ratings are still on a high. Over 60% of Ghanaians believe that he is on the right track. But the little decline is what has raised some concern. And the man who put together this very poll is in the studio to take us through what he found and what it means. Musa Dankwa is in studio, and we're going to get to him very shortly and get all the update. But stay interactive. We want to hear from you. Make sure you send your messages, you send your comments, and let's get into all of it very, very shortly. So as I mentioned, Musa Dankwa is on standby. We're going to hear from him very shortly, and then we'll get all the details of all those things. Quickly, let me introduce my guest, counsel, Lawyer Jantwa is in studio with me. Lawyer, good morning. Good to have you. Good to be here to have you.
You've been here for quite some time.
Yes.
Good morning to our...
He's busy mixing the things in his pot. So.
He's busy mixing things in his pot.
I will not comment.
Interesting. I've also got Pagriv here. Mr. Pagriv, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Really good to see you.
It's good to be here.
See you. I think it's the first time I'm hosting you on the show. So.
I haven't been here this year, so happy New Year.
Oh, wow. It's good to have you there.
Yeah, it's
good to have you. Good to have you.
He's my schoolmate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's my godfather.
Wow. Schoolmates where?
The only college in Ghana. At the Saddle College.
Oh, great.
We're bringing the next president.
Yes, we're bringing the next president.
I see. Prof, Ayamga is also here. Prof, good morning. Good to have you.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Always nice to share the platform with senior. As for Pilgrim and I, we crossed paths somewhere else. It's nice. They can dream. We already have the next two presidents lined up. There's no Adisada College person in there. So,
and can I say good morning to Musa?
Yes, you can say good morning. I'm not sure if the camera is on him yet.
Good morning, Musa.
We'll try and get the camera on him, and then
I'm glad you're here.
Bring him into the conversation because we want to start with him now. So we want to start with him now. So hopefully we can get that and begin. Musa is on standby. But let me just bring you what's happening in the newspapers for now. The Daily Graphic, I've got just 3 newspapers here with me. I've got the Daily Graphic, very heavy today. It seems quite a number of stories they've got in there. But top of the headlines here has to do with the police press briefing yesterday. Police smash armed robbery syndicate, 10 arrested, 3 killed in shootouts. And of course, yesterday the IGP spoke at that press briefing. And Vice President tours Education Ministry as the minister unveils plans to boost STEM and higher education. And of course, there is an interesting soundbite that have come from the Vice President visited the Education Ministry yesterday, Haruna Idrisu. We'll hear from him. It's a very interesting soundbite from him. We'll play it for you, and we'd like to pick your thought what you make of it, because some are speculating Prof. Jane Haruna Idrisu ticket because of the comment that was made by the Education Ministry, Education Minister there. So that's what happened there. But also, Access Bank appoints new MDs there, and following evidence of compliance, GTech restores services to UCC. Then also the Inside newspaper has got global capitalism is exploiting workers and producing inequality, imperialist wars as the socialist movement of Ghana resolution warns. Then Brian drowns Edu over cocoa syndicate reform. There's been a bit of back and forth between Dr. Brian Champon and the former Cocoa Board CEO, Joseph Boahin Edu, about who introduced what policy. It's quite an interesting commentary that has been unfolding. Then Israel's genocidal war in Gaza, Spain considers boycott of 2026 World Cup. And government on course to diversify tertiary education, strengthening TVET. That's according to the Vice President. And Mahama assigns Maida as Chief Coordinator for Global Grant, and Deputy Transport Minister commends GPHA for successful rollout of 24-hour port operations. And the Chronicle has got Mahama betraying Ghanaians over galamsey fight. Interesting. That's also there. Then Cocoa Syndicate reform Buhaha is also in there. Then there will be no safe haven for criminals. That's according to the IGP. And it's got pictures of some criminals who've been arrested, along with some guns that were seized. So hopefully we'll try and touch on that. But I want us to start with Musa Dankwa, who's on standby now. And good morning, Mr. Dankwa.
Good morning.
You've done your approval ratings for the month of September. And correct me if I'm wrong, the last time you did it was in July, right?
Correct.
And in September, I've seen the data, but for the benefit of our viewers, let's go through it. Let's go. First of all, tell us why this is important, and then we can go into what you found.
Look, opinion polls are very important. They serve as a guide to the government of the day and serve as a listening ear of what people are saying. Especially when it comes to governance issues. You should be understanding what people are thinking and saying about you, and how they may want you to behave going forward. So from time to time, the pulse of the country is tested, and we report back to the country, letting the people know what people are saying. We have been focusing on some key governance issues, which is the direction of the country, and then also the performance of the president. And this, we started in 2022, and we are continuing. So we can compare how Ghanaians rate their presidents over the years. Then people's standard of living, which is very crucial in deciding who wins or loses the next election. What people are saying about their standard of living is very important. And also on the key issue of corruption, what they are thinking and saying about corruption and the corruption fight. These are the things that determine who becomes the president. And if you pretend you don't hear them, then certainly you wake up one morning feeling dazed.
I mean, first of all, again, before we get into the findings, tell us how you conducted this.
This is a combined mode, a telephone survey of 1,997 randomly called voters across the country, and then also face-to-face interviews with about 7,500 voters across 83 constituencies in all the 16 regions. It was started from 15 September, we ended on 23rd September.
Interesting. Now, we have some slides and I'm sure they're going to roll on your screen now, and then we can get into, okay, so this is the first one we have. You can take us through it.
Right. So in 2024, the last tracking poll that was conducted was in 2024, October. At that point, approval of the president was 36%, that's Nanado. Disapproval, 59%, and no opinion, 5%. There was no poll in January. The first poll was conducted in April, when we had a new president. In April, the approval of the president moves from 36 to what? 66% for John Mahama. So his first approval rating was 66%. Disapproval, 23%. 11% were no opinion. In July, his approval went up from 66 to 73%. And then disapproval dropped to 19%, and no opinion, 8%. But in the current poll, the approval dropped to 67%. Disapproval, 22%, and 11% have no opinion. You can see a big drop in disapproval of the president from 19 to 22. A big drop in the approval, which is 73 to 67, about 6% drop. And what has happened to those 6%? Now, 19 to 22, 3% have gone from disapproval, 19 now 22, and others have gone to no opinion, sitting on the fence. So if you look at it, it has dropped from a high of 73 to now 67. And then it's still very high, because if you look at the data, it means 2 out of 3 Ghanaian still approve of the way he's doing his job.
Now, let's get into some specifics, and I'm sure that's what the second slide is going to show, the specific issues that you touched on, and I'm sure that's going to be on the screen now.
Right. Now, if you look at the performance of the government, how the government as a whole is performing, excellent was 19%, now 18%, a drop of 1%. Those who were saying very good or good was 61%, dropped to 54%. I think that is the source of the disturbances we saw from Mahama's performance. And then the average moved from 10% to 12%, but poor moved from 11 to 16%. So these are the sources for the move from very good or good into very poor or poor.
Well, that's really fascinating. And we have some more slides that's going to roll. And yeah.
Now, corruption. When we ask them what do they think about current state of corruption in the country, if you look at the improving, it was 60% in July. Now 53, drop of 7%. That is quite huge. And then getting worse, up 3% from 13 to 16%. Same as increased by 4 points from 20 to 24%. And no opinion has declined from 7 to 6%. So people are worried that corruption is not probably being tackled. And you can read me into this by what people have been saying about oral and other things. I think this has implication on what people have been saying about the oral matter.
You think they're getting impatient about...
I think they are getting impatient.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure we have about 2 more slides. That is also going to roll on your screen now, that we can get into it so that we can...
We asked them if they believe the government was fighting corruption enough. Look, in the previous quarter, July, 63% were saying yes, they were. That now has dropped, 58%. So they are not happy with what is happening, probably across oral and other corruption issues that are kind of around us. And those who said, no, you're not fighting corruption well, it jumped from 23 to 29%. And then no opinion from 4%, 14% to 13%. So people are taking the position in terms of what the government is doing in the fight against corruption, and they're not happy with it.
And I mean, oral was a major campaign promise by the government. And I think, yeah.
And I think remember some time back, there were issues about this plea bargain. And that issue is really making people angry. Now, we didn't bring you into power to come and arrange deals with people to let them go scot-free. They have to be very, very careful how they deal with the plea bargain situations that they have in their hands.
Interesting. I'm not sure if we have an extra slide there. We'll go to it. Great.
Now, this measures the economic impact of what is going on, living standard. Now, compared to last year or last 12 months, what would you say about your own standard of living? Those who say that it has improved has declined marginally from 59 to 57%. And worsened from 12 to 11, declined. So it's not worsening. But those who are saying unchanged has moved from 25 to 27%. And no opinion has declined slightly. So this is a small dent in the economic situation of the people. And this can be linked to probably the anxiety around the city in recent times.
I think that's really interesting, because issues like corruption, standard of living, these are things that often inform people's choices when they go to the poll.
Absolutely.
And especially at a time when the government is taking a lot of credit for the seeming turnaround in the economy, improvement in the exchange rate, etc. It's still quite interesting that people are raising concerns about this. But from where you said, based on these findings, what do you think government needs to do? Which are the areas that government needs to improve on? And in terms of communications, to try and carry the people along so they can have faith in what they want to do, what do you think will be the best approach?
I mean, a few things. One, in the area of galamsey, I think people might be losing faith on the fight. And they have to get their acts together and show people that they are working and they have the zeal to stop it. And it's one area that the government is really not performing in terms of perception. Then you look at the prosecution, oral, and the corruption cases. People don't think something is happening, nothing is happening. And that is disheartening for many people. And then on top of that, you hear this plea bargain discussion that are going on. And also recent comment by Fifi Kwete, saying that some lawyers from NDC are trying to cut deals behind the scenes to let people go scot-free. And those are things that are really, really impacting on government performance in terms of perception. Quite serious. They have to deal with that transparently and openly. Now, on the economy, I think it's a blip. I don't think that's going to be a major issue that is driving the numbers. As you can see, there hasn't been any bigger shift in the people's standard of living compared to last year. So that, I think, can be managed. But the first two are critical for the government's performance.
Now, I'm just going to ask this last one, and if my guests have any questions for Musa Dankwa, they can ask him so they can better appreciate the things that he's put out there. But do you have a sense of the regional breakdown of these polls? So the president can at least, or the government can tell the people in Accra are losing faith, the people in Kumasi is relatively stable. Do you have a regional breakdown of this?
I think we do. I don't know whether you guys are happy to show it. There's a regional breakdown all the time, all these matrices. I think what the government should do is to compare the last data, the current data, and see which regions have shown movement in terms of worsening. And they can probably address that. But I don't think it should be done regionally. This is a national poll. The emphasis must be on the nation. And when you do things well, the nation will respond.
Okay, great. Let me come to my guests if they have any questions. Council, you have any questions for Musa?
Yes.
Okay.
I was wondering, on the corruption bit, it seems, and Musa, you'll probably be able to clarify for me, it seems to be subjective on oral and people's thoughts on how government is handling oral. But my question is, have there been any other cases of corruption within the government? For me, that is what I would look at if you tell me corruption has spiked. If it's just on the oral situation, then that is specific. So has corruption increased? The new government coming in, do you see them, some of them being corrupt? And if they've been corrupt, who are they, where are they, and by what perception? Because it seems, as Musa was saying, it seems to be directed on the oral situation.
All right, Musa, you want to respond to that?
Yes, I mean, if you look at the polls we've done April and July about corruption perception across the country, the government appointees, the presidency are the least corrupt in terms of perception at the moment. People are not seeing them to be corrupt. So if there's an increase in the corruption perception index, it just can be related to the oral issue and not the government's corrupt practices. So this, as I said, is the oral issue and lack of prosecution that is probably driving these sentiments, and not rather the perception of corruption on the part of this government.
So it means if it so happens that the government is able to come out with oral and start prosecution and all that, that percentage will come down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, great.
So then that means it's for a certain season.
Yeah, I mean, from July to September.
Just for a certain season.
Yeah, so hopefully by the next time, maybe in December, the next one might come out, or next year.
And does that mean that the government's ratings will now go up? Is that what it
if
means?
they do what the people are expecting?
The polls respond.
Yeah.
The polls respond.
Yeah, great. Any other questions?
Mr. Danko, I want to know, what was your margin of error?
Less than 1.5.
Yes, so it means that if we duck that out of the numbers, we are almost not seeing significant changes in some places. No. Yeah, I just wanted to know that.
Sprague, have you got some questions for him?
Yes. Clearly, from what my brother Musa Dankwa has showed us this morning, John Dramani Mahama,
they say you should ask me a question.
Is not doing well. But my question, I mean very clearly, you know, and clearly he's not doing well.
Politics.
The honeymoon is over. I mean very clearly, you can see that the man is not doing well. But Musa, I want to find out. I'm happy with your segmented areas that you have researched into. But for someone who is interested in the state of the security in this country, there's been a lot of hotspots in the country. I've counted close to about 17 different incidents from the 15th of January till date. I mean, even yesterday's press statement from the CID was even more alarming, that armed robbers can take ammunitions that belong to police personnel and still have that in their possession. It tells you how alarming it is. And so I want to find out. I mean, I see that Mahama is not doing well. I don't know whether you asked any question around the insecurity of the country and how that will play out, unless, of course, people had that in mind in answering some of the questions. But I don't see security playing a major role here. What's the reason?
Yeah, Samusa.
Look, we can only go to the field with a certain number of questions. If security concerns are becoming topical, then we'll take it up and find out what is happening around the sector. But so far, in the last 9 months, it has not been on the radar. If it was in the news, we'll certainly be doing so. But for now, we'll wait and see whether we'll take it up next time.
But I just want to make an input here that usually you ask one important question about the direction of the country. And I think that usually when you have other disturbances that are not largely economic, and maybe government performance, they get captured in the direction of the country. So I think that you probably have a very comprehensive set of variables there to give us some indication.
But, you know, Prof, one of the alarming things is that, you see, we have over 48,000 Ghanaians who are displaced.
In the Benin class.
Exactly. And so, for me, that is extremely significant.
And what is more significant is the president
also
directly to address it. Yeah, so that's what we are talking about here.
There are a lot of implications to that. You understand? And I mean, when it comes to security, obviously we cannot politicize that. But
no, we are.
I am deeply concerned, okay? And I feel that in the next research that Musa will do before the year goes to an end, he needs to be able to look at the security of the country.
All right,
because we don't feel safe.
If we have to
Mr. Dankwa, is this something you're possibly going to consider?
You cannot reduce the conversation to because you see, Razak, you see, I know Musa is on the floor, but you know, Senior Musa, you know that, you see, and I have my data here, and this data is public, okay? From the 15th of January to the 16th of January, there were chieftaincy disputes, 3 people died.
You are not known,
from the 28th,
you are not known to be any poster. We can't
no,
go
it's not a poster. This is not a poster. This is not poster. This is data.
Data from?
Data of what has happened in the security sector in the country. 3 people died in Oti region in Nkwanta on the 15th to the 16th. This is not research that I've done to say that these are opinions that people are bringing out. On the 28th of February in Northeast, there was a chieftaincy dispute. Victims were burnt. 3 people died. On the 9th of April, there was a Boku dispute. You are aware of it? On 22nd of April, Domiabra. On 25th to 28th of June, there were renewed clashes of what happened in January. The Bingiri disputes, 34 people died. But you are aware. These are things that you are aware.
Just say you want something.
Because security is very, very important.
I don't want anything. You want something to suit your position.
No.
I mean, we are here.
Just last week.
Let me tell Pilgrim something. We are here to discuss Musa Dankwa's
let me just get Musa Dankwa,
which has proven to be right over the.
No, of course.
You are introducing some variables I don't want to talk about. Because I don't want to talk about
the variables I'm introducing.
Let me hear Musa, because I think the point that has been made here is that in your next poll, if you consider security as a variable, as a major variable, so at least it doesn't get into the subsets of the direction of the country, because I'm sure to some extent.
Why do we have to do
that? That's what I'm asking him. Will he consider it?
Okay. What we'll be introducing back is the key issues that matter to you as a voter. And among those will be security. What you will find is that, depending upon where you are, those issues will flare up if you are in an area that is not secured. But if you are in an area that is peaceful, normally those things don't register. So sometimes we have to be very careful. We tend to want a local issue to be nationalized.
Yeah,
and
that's the issue.
Opinion polls actually would expose that. So you have to be very, very careful. If the scale is a massive scale that affects national security, then people will be concerned. But if it's a local issue, you see them flaring up in the local data. But with what we've come to know in the past, even with galamsey, if you do a poll of this country, those in the galamsey areas are less concerned about galamsey than those outside the galamsey areas because of the economic issues and how it affects them economically. So we have to see the data in a very different way. So if you just lump everything together, you might be missing the point. But yes, clearly we will take that issue up next time and see whether security has become an issue in this country.
We'll get into the discussion of this. It's going to be our conversation today, and we'll love to hear from you on that. Mr. Dankwa has to take leave of us because I understand he's got some other engagement. But before you leave, though, Mr. Dankwa, there was a major development, and I'm very sure that you've picked it up, and it's likely to feature in your next poll of the NDC flagbearer race. And my producers are going to stand by for us. Haruna Idrisu, the education minister, yesterday, when the vice president visited his ministry, he made a very profound statement that he's hoping that the vice president will one day become the first female president of the country. And that is a huge statement. Let's listen to him.
My prayer that God will give you long life and good health, that probably you will be elevated to become the first female president. I've been in cabinet with you, at least the first session of the cabinet and the second session of the cabinet. And I can say without fear of contradiction that you remain an unquestioned champion of education and gender rights and gender interests and inclusiveness generally in the pursuit of government policy. It is my prayer. And I like it.
Yeah, so, I mean, Musa, just a quick one on this. The polls you've released relating to the NDC flag bearer race, I mean, from the ones I've seen, RNDC is the one leading. But then he appears to be backing
evidence show
the
that he's leading. Show the evidence.
Musa Dankwa, you can speak to that.
Look, this is very interesting. Coming from Haruna Idrisu, I don't want to be drawn into NDC race and its commentary thereof. But look, we had Professor Jenana in the mix in April poll.
Professor.
She was doing well. And then she got sick. And look, as a pollster, we knew the implication of that situation for her health, and also understanding the dynamics of the current block of people we have as voters. So we took her out. And we've done certain polls that we haven't published, where we give people a chance to mention who they want to lead NDC when she wasn't in the list. And I think people have sensibly responded in a way that, for me, is realistic. Look, 64% of the country wants young leaders, according to current poll. 64. And about 75% or more of Ghanaian voters are below 44 years. That is a message.
Well, Mr. Dankwa, thank you very much for your time this morning. Really appreciate your insights, and thank you for making it all the way. I'm sure we'll get into. When is the next, approval ratings poll is going to? When is it?
That will be January.
January.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, I wanted to make a suggestion to Musa Dankwa, because also I'm someone who plays with numbers a lot. I would want next time to, like you already showed a bit of, but at least for purposes of references, we should compare, let's say, President Akufo-Addo at the same time with President Mahama. That is when we can actually be able to judge him. But as of now, you are comparing President Mahama to himself, and the numbers are exceptional.
But the poll,
so all I'm just saying is
2022. So
and I'll show you why the numbers are
2017.
exceptional when we start our discussion. But I'm saying that for purposes of judging President Mahama against others, bring President Akufo-Addo's numbers at the same time in his presidency.
No, we don't have that data.
And with the same variable of COVID-19. And the same variable of Russia's. Yes, you want the same variable.
Russia's.
But this is not Mahama's first term. We have to understand that.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless, of course, we want to,
Even
we want to be able to compare Mahama's first term of 2012 to 2016 and another Akufo-Addo's term of 2017
I'm saying that
he doesn't have
we
that
can pitch these numbers against any of President
We can put the same variables. Do you want COVID-19 to come back? You can put the same variables.
We have an
COVID-19.
Yes, COVID-19.
You are still blaming it.
No, I'm not blaming it. I'm telling you about the variable that was in it.
We have an idea of what is going to unfold. You want to stay with us. Clearly, we have an idea of what's going to unfold in the discussion segment. So you want to stay with us. Mr. Dankwa, thank you very much. Once again, really appreciate your time. This is still Prime Morning. It's still News Flash. And as I mentioned, we are going to get into the issues now. All right? We're going to get into the issues now. So just a quick thing, quick one, and then we'll get back into it.
You remain an unquestioned champion of education and gender.
News
All right, well, that's really interesting, Mr. Dankwa was just stepping out, and really appreciate his insight. He's helping the governance conversation in this country, and I think the work he's doing gradually, despite the initial resistance, people are beginning to embrace it, and accept it as part of our politicking in the country. So great. Still got counsel, Lawyer Janswa here, and Dr. Palgrave is also still here, and Prof is also here. Yeah.
Just a quick one.
Yeah, counsel.
Palgrave he wants us to think that they have been out of power for 2-3 years.
Actually, we started the conversation, so you can have your bite.
8 months. 8 months.
9 months.
Whatever the case, even take 10 months. And that everything is upside down. No, I don't think so.
But when you look at the data and the decline, is it not concerning?
Whatever it is dragging from the last time into now. And it depends on how this government handles it. Were there no security issues when President Akufo-Addo was in power? One of the major security issues that unfortunately my good friend President Akufo-Addo couldn't handle was galamsey. It's a huge security issue. Huge. Not only for individual people, for all of us. For all of us. Those who aren't in galamsey, is the food, is the water. Those who are in galamsey, it is the pollution and the foreigners coming in to take what isn't theirs and using it for other things. Look at the shots on the, what do you call it, the arrest of those people who were attacking bullion vans.
Yeah.
You know the shocking thing about that one? The ammunition and the guns.
Yeah.
Did you see the guns?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? And you think it's only there?
The police said some of the robbers were taking it from the policemen.
I said it is spread all around the country where ammunition is concerned. They weren't able to handle it. If President Mahama isn't able to handle it, then where we are heading for is not going to be a nice thing.
And just to talk about where we're heading to and the threat of galamsey, it was yesterday that Erastus mentioned that one of the forest reserves, illegal miners had invaded it. We understand that NIMOS went into it, they arrested the individuals, and talking about the ammunition, if you see the guns that were seized from these illegal miners, it's similar to the guns that the police paraded yesterday.
You see, I have a suggestion, and I don't know whether government would work on it, because it would need extra financing. It would need Parliament to be part and parcel of it, and maybe down the road, parts of the judiciary. But for those who are mining, those people in the pits, I think what we should do is that if we can pass a law to cover it, if you're caught mining in the pits, you're not going to be taken to jail, or you're not going to be taken to court. You go straight into the army. You're conscripted straight into the army. What will that do? It will show discipline. It will teach them some discipline.
The illegal miners, when arrested...
The miners themselves, those in there.
When arrested,
yes,
they should be added to the military.
Yes.
To do what?
Yeah, because look, they are the financiers. They aren't the financiers.
So they go to the military to do what?
To be soldiers. You think it's impossible? Do you think it's impossible?
It's possible, but then, are you not... What do you call
it? You know the number of people who go to the galamsey pits because they want to be conscripted.
That is why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that.
It becomes a means to get into the army.
It will take... So
no,
what?
It's a good suggestion,
so
but
what?
it's an interesting one. I'm just looking
so
at
what? So what? They should poison us? They should continue to poison us? They should continue to poison the country? Because what this galamsey is doing, it is killing the natural resources and killing the revenue strands of the country.
Yeah.
And if we can rather make use of those individuals and discipline them through the army, is that not better? I remember when I was on this huddle, Cadet Corps, Form 1. Were you in cadet?
Yes, I was a Boy Scout and cadet.
Yes, Cadet Corps. And it teaches you discipline. Do we not need to discipline those people who are in there? The most important thing are the financiers. If we can stop that link into financing galamsey, this thing can stop. But are we? Both NDC and MPP, have they been able to jail any financier?
And Musa Dankwa is suggesting that to some extent, the seeming inaction by government or Of course, government says they are rolling out quite a number of initiatives. The impact of same appears not to be yielding the result the Ghanaians were expecting when they voted the government into power. For which reason it's influencing even the poll we are seeing?
It is not. Look, I don't know. This is just a thought. This is just a thought. I might be wrong. And Comrade President Mahama, if I'm wrong, forgive me.
Hey, you're asking for forgiveness?
No, if I'm wrong, forgive me.
Lawyer, that's why I'm asking for forgiveness.
Why? I'm human. I'm human. Gold board.
Yeah.
What has been seen, and this is what we were told, what has been seen with the gold board when was it inaugurated? How many months?
Yeah, it should be about maybe 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
What have we seen with gold board? What have we been told about gold board?
That we've got some earnings in excess of 6 billion.
6 billion. What does that tell you? That tells you gold is profitable. Now, we don't know whether it is illegal gold or whether it is small-scale gold. So my plea is that if, because we need to gather money, make sure that at least the gold board can make, if nothing at all, 20 billion. And because of that, we're taking our foot off the pedal for a certain duration of time for the gold board to be able to make money. I beg you. If that is the idea, let's ditch it. Let's ditch it. Why? Because if we decide to structure galamsey properly and well, whatever money gold board wants, they'll be able to get it. Because gold board at the present moment haven't been able to tell us how and where the gold they sold came from. Because from what I know, a lot of small-scale miners with licenses are in galamsey. True or false? What do you call it will tell you?
Erastus.
Erastus will tell you. They're in galamsey. So where is that gold coming from? And President Mahama said, instead of the money going out, it's best that it stays here.
He says at the moment they don't have a mechanism to differentiate, but they are working on that. Should not differentiate and track it.
Shouldn't that be the first point of call?
Yeah, you know,
but before that,
it should be the first point. This government, this man's government, that should be the first thing they did. That should have been the first thing they did.
Let me finish here.
This is where we are not seeing galamsey as a national issue. We are seeing it more as a party issue, where it should be national, where him, everybody sits around the table, and I'm talking about our big people, sits around the table, irrespective of party, and say, which way do we go? What should we do? Collectively. And because we are not doing this thing collectively, you get holes in there. It has to be done collectively. It's a national issue.
Yeah, let me bring Doc in now. Doc, I mean, wide range of issues from this recent poll. There's corruption-related issues in there. You were talking about security, and now galamsey is also coming up. It's all in there. It does appear that President Mahama's honeymoon is gradually getting over.
You know, Razak, I am very, very disturbed for this country, to be honest. And I get very worried and troubled when people say that we just left office. When power and governance is given to you, you must deliver. There are three things in governance. It's trust, it's transparency, and accountability. These three things. And those three things are not yielded off. Nobody gave the government of President Akufo-Addo a breathing space. So John Dramani Mahama, right from the 7th of January till he hands over power in 2029, 7th of January, every single day the clock is ticking. So there's no rest for him. I'm looking at this data that Musa has done, and I must immediately commend Musa because this is healthy for our democracy. It helps with policy formation, and it tells us how either good or bad the government is doing. And so it's very good. If you look at the direction of the country, from Musa's data, it clearly tells you, and I have it here, 23% of Musa's 9,000 people that he spoke to said the country is in the wrong direction. 23% say the country is in the wrong direction. So it should clearly tell you that, look, I am glad that John Dramani Mahama is gone for Onga. He should be back from New York very soon because his country, which we all belong to, is in a very wrong direction. Now, if you look at the president's job approval rate,
23 out of 100.
Oh, let me.
Did you miss statistics class?
I did. How can I miss statistics class? Allow me to do my data.
3%.
In fact,
tell me 50%. Tell me 60%.
In fact, you see, I'm surprised about Jantua because you see, Jantua was not speaking like this when our government was in office.
No.
And so, allow me. Look, let me tell you something, Razak.
Okay.
If you even want me to look at the data as it is, because this is the data that Musa presented.
Yeah.
These are not cooked up data.
The same thing.
Yes, it's the same thing that I have shared with you.
Yeah.
Okay?
But I'm wondering whether you are reading the same data.
Of course, it's the same data I've given to you. Look, Razak, look, the people said that at the time when he did the research from July to September, okay, in July, the country was in the right direction at 71%. But by September, it's dropped to 66%. Okay, so if by July, people said the country was in the wrong direction at 20%, and by September, it's at 23%. You can imagine where the country will be by January 2026.
But realistically, he can't get all of Ghanaians being happy.
Of course. But this data is carrying. So let me just go along to my analysis, okay? Now, look, people are looking at President John Dramani Mahama's job approval. The Ghanaian people that went to vote overwhelmingly have given John Dramani Mahama a job.
Yeah.
Those were the people that were on the interview panel, okay? And they voted for John Dramani Mahama. This is his job approval rate, if there is a data to put together. Musa Dankwa said that it has dropped from 73% to 67%. Okay? That's a staggering, this is 6%. Then the disapproval rate, that it has also moved from 19% to 22%. So the Ghanaian people are not happy with John Dramani Mahama. The job that they gave to him to do, to keep the country safe, to make sure that illegal mining becomes a thing of the past and it's not politicized, because they started the politics of galamsey.
But 66, 67%.
73, 73%.
I want to enroll in my statistics.
But 67%.
I want to enroll.
But realistically, though, based on the data, 67%. Do you think it is?
Oh, are you happy? Are you happy that 67%?
Because on his rating, it is still within the very good range.
Well, for me, it's not good. Yes, if you can ask Prof, the students that we teach, if you get 67%, what grade is that?
It's a B+.
Okay. If you and you are gradually reducing.
With your president never got.
Who told you? You can go and look at the data.
That's why I say your president never got. Right from the day he took office.
You can look at the data.
Never got.
You can look at the data. So the Akufo-Addo's performance far outweighs what Dramani Mahama's performance is today.
So based on you have the data. Show us.
Oh, I have the data. I'm wondering why I'm being heckled. I'm wondering why I'm being heckled by Prof and lawyer. It appears as though
Please.
Present data.
But this is
present data.
But this is it.
What is doing is
all right, but I just want to ask. I want to ask if I may just.
No, you're talking emotion.
Yeah, if I may ask.
These are numbers that are.
So, Doc, I just want to ask that. I mean, 67%. Clearly, you're not impressed. Realistically, though, after 9 months in power, what do you think his approval ratings ordinarily should have been?
My brother, regardless of the number of months you have stayed in power, I said, look, if I employ people in my organization, we give them a 3 months probation. When you employ people in an organization, you give them a 3 months probation. In 90 days, if the people are not able to show you their unique selling proposition of what they are made up of the significant contribution they are bringing into your company, you will not renew them. Sometimes you even give them 6 months. So John Dramani Mahama, after 9 months, look, what are you talking about? It's only 4 years that we'll be able to change him. In fact, this is his last term. Okay, I have stated, and I've told the NDC, including Prof, that this is the legacy presidency of John Dramani Mahama. Of course, I wish him well. I want him to succeed. Okay, when he began, I said a lot of good things about him. But where we are now, okay, with the perspective that I am looking at things, and I look at it from a governance point of view, okay, I look at it from a security point of view. If I see that these things are not going well, it shows in the figures. Okay, now let me move on to MP's performance. You are aware.
Point of order.
Okay.
Point of order. Point of order. There is another statistics you didn't talk about.
No, but allow me.
You didn't talk about it.
To raise my. Allow me to raise my. You are here asking for forgiveness from John Dramani Mahama. You are here asking for forgiveness. He's asking for forgiveness from John Dramani.
I think take that out of context.
Well, you are asking for forgiveness. Don't worry.
Don't take that out of context.
We all go together to John Dramani Mahama.
No, he said if he's wrong.
No,
if he's wrong.
If he's wrong.
You are doctor. Put the right thing. No, but fair enough. Yeah, Doc.
The statistics he hasn't talked about.
Yeah, Councillor, I'll come to you so you can raise it.
You're jumping your statistics.
I don't understand why lawyers do that.
But you are not presenting the
because I am presenting.
You are doing emotional analysis here.
Politicizing the data.
No. Oh, please.
Razak, you can clearly see. You can clearly see.
Prof, please, let's allow him. Let's allow him. Doc, please continue.
Thank you very much, Razak.
Because you said you were talking about MPs' performance.
Yes, MPs' performance.
Okay, go ahead.
The NDC has a super majority in Parliament. From the data that Musa has presented, it gives 18% very poor performance. 18%. And that is not coming from the minority.
It's from where? Is that NDC MPs?
Oh,
they say
MPs performance. Who has majority in Parliament?
No. They are talking about they're sitting down, they're wailing, they walk out. And yeah, those are the ones. It's not.
Who has majority?
When you are talking about data, you have to analyze.
You can clearly see.
You are just doing the analysis. No, I'm a student of statistics.
You have your time. You have your time. Please continue.
It's abusing statistics.
No, the performance of the NDC MPs is 18% poor. That is what Musa Dankwa is telling us. It's here.
No, but he didn't
disaggregate on
No, this is. I'll come to you. You have your time. Let him land. Doc, please land. Doc, please. No, Prof, I'll come to you. No, but I'll come to you. I'll come to you for the education. No, but I'll come to you for the education. Doc, please continue. I'll come to you, Prof.
I am interested in the value chain of governance, okay? The value chain of governance puts the executive, puts the judiciary, puts the legislature, and puts all of us in the media together, okay? Now, Musa Dankwa's data is clearly telling us that the parliamentarians in Parliament, and my brother, who has majority in Parliament, the super majority in Parliament is by the ruling government. This data, okay, even it says very poor, 18%. Divide 18%, divide 18%. Allow me, Prof. Allow me, Prof. I am not abusing numbers. I am stating the numbers. I am stating the data that Musa has put together.
No, this is not Musa's data.
I am timing him. Doc, please.
This is data that is coming from the ground.
Yes.
Okay, I don't understand.
But the point being made here is that this data does not tell us whether it is for MPP or NDC. It is MPs.
Let me tell you the good work that Musa has done. Okay, I can tell you by region, and we know. Okay, from Ahafo region to Ashanti region to Brong Ahafo region to Bunu East region to Central region to Eastern region to Greater Accra region to Northeast region to Northern region, Oti region, Savannah region, Upper East region, Upper West region, Volta region, Western region, and Western North. This is all here. If you have time, I can go through it so that I can let you know. Okay, as Prof is thinking that I'm not doing the statistics well. Look, I was the best maths performing student in Adisara College. Yes, I was the best maths performing student, elective maths. I taught the whole Central region. So this is it. I can go through. It is out of this data that Musa has been able to put together the sample size, and he's saying that 18%, okay, 18% of parliamentarians. And if you look at it, if you have time, okay, maybe on your weekend show or next week, we can come and then take it sector by sector. Yeah, because I see that Prof is explaining.
And just the point about, and that's something that Prof was actually was talking about. The point about the party affiliation of the respondent. Yes. Just look at the data there relative to the MP's performance. The party affiliation of the respondent. So you've got MPP respondent who said they were MPP in terms of the performance of the MPs. Excellent, 8%. 34% of them said is good, 19% of them said average, 39% of them said poor. All right. Now, when you come to the respondents who were affiliated to the NDC relative to the performance of the MPs, 24% of them said excellent. 62% of them said good or very good. Then 7% of them said average. And you have some 8% of them saying that it was poor. All right. Then floating voters, also a significant number of them, 12% of them said it is poor. And 57% of them said it is good, and 22% of them said it is average, and 9%. And we have others. And others say, of the others, 19% of them said that it is poor. 19% of others who decided not to, say anything about who they are or whatsoever. Then you had 16% of people who decided not to disclose their affiliation, also saying that it was poor. So if you look at the data, respondents who were MPP, 39% of them said that the performance of the MPs is poor. 8% of NDC-affiliated respondents said it is poor. Floating voters, 12% said it is poor. Others said 19% of them said it is poor, and those who decided not to disclose, 16% of them said it's poor. So this offers some nuance.
Of course, not a problem.
Yeah.
But based on what you have the data that you have just put out, tell me the 18% very poor that Musa has been able to culminate all together. Please tell me where that is. It lies at the doorstep of the majority. It lies at the doorstep of the majority. So clearly, the super majority that the NDC has in Parliament, I think that this is a clarion call on the majority leader to whip his people in line so they can be able to attend to parliamentary duties. I stated that John Dramani Mahama is overwhelmed with numbers in Parliament. Look, they've just won the Tamale Central, the election that we pulled out and voluntarily gave it to them. Okay, we pulled out, voluntarily gave it to them to win it. Okay, so clearly you can see. So if I'm putting out this data, I'm not skewing any data. I am only trying to help the NDC ensure that the legislative arm of government becomes operational as it must be. Because our members of parliament are always in parliament. They are always sitting in parliament. They are always attending committees. They are members of parliament. We don't see them. They don't come. And the data is here.
All right, let me come to Prof. Let me come to Prof.
Hey, I didn't know that now you have become...
Prof, let me come to you now.
Lawyer.
I'm just praying that some of level 100 students in the universities are not watching the analysis of Pilgrim. Because, in fact, it will be serious work for their professors after listening to him. You see, let me put things in perspective here, that the MPP and some of the discourses they are sharing around, I think they perceive that Ghanaians are suffering from chronic amnesia. So they come in 8 months thinking that all the misgovernance and the raping of this country over 8 years, people have forgotten, and they can sit here and misrepresent even statistics. You said you were a best student in your school. Let me tell you, I was teaching statistics, I taught mathematics and econometrics in the university. So numbers is mattering. Yes, numbers is mattering. You were a student, I was a professor. And I'm going to tell you that if you look at these numbers, just look at the numbers. If you add just excellent and very good, President Mahama's government performance will be about 73%. Says his performance is either excellent or very good.
But you're not concerned that it is declining. It has declined. You've seen at least some 4 to 5% decline.
I'll get there and I'll tell you the nuances. That is the first thing. That the greater majority of people in this country, more than 2/3, say the president is either doing excellently or very good. If your kid in school brings these results to you in the house, you're going to buy him a gift. And you want us to forget about this very significant performance and go and talk about those who say he is not. Yes, as a government philosophy, we want to score high. So we listen to even those who say we are not doing very well. But if Akufo-Addo had these numbers, I'll be wondering how many statues you have erected across this country. Now, let me tell you something you are also not seeing because you are not a statistician. That this number we are looking at here, the president's approval rating, is higher than the percentage of people who voted for him. Tell me that is wrong.
Hey.
No, I'm telling you statistics.
The people that voted for him.
Yes.
18 million people were on the
percentage.
No, 18 million people were on the voters register. 18 million people were on the voters register. This data that Musa Dankwa has done is 9,000. 9,000 people. Professor of statistics. Prof, don't do that.
You see,
Prof, don't do that. Let's speak to the data.
What do you say? You see, Mr. Pelgrim, no, doctor, let me call it right. Don't display your ignorance here because then you are now creating a blunder. A sample is normally a selection or the representation of a population, and it is supposed to reflect what the population would do. That is why when Musa Dankwa did his sampling and projected the elections, they went the way he projected. So you now say that what Musa Dankwa was right because his sampling was okay, and that's why I asked him the margin of error. So if you try to say that based on the population, the sample is wrong, any statistician will tell you are just doing yourself disservice, or you are being dishonest, or you don't even understand statistics.
But Prof, let's get into that. Let's get into some specifics. Yeah, let's get into some specifics.
I don't want you to distract me.
No, I want
to say what I want to say. No, why you want?
I want to ask you a question. So if I can ask you a question,
don't deflect me.
I want to ask you a question. All right?
Okay, let me
make your point so that I can ask.
The president won the election by which margin? Percentage of Ghanaians?
50 plus.
Today's polling says that almost 73% of Ghanaians say he's either doing excellently or very good. That is how you analyze data. You don't go and take the very small numbers, the least people, and say that we have to analyze the president's performance based on the minority, very significant minority, rather than what the majority are saying. That's what Musa Dankwa is trying to tell us here. If we go to the president's approval rating, and if you add even the margin of error, you realize that the president's approval rating is not significantly different from the previous level. Can you imagine that 8 months into election, the president is still only trying to beat his best performance? Not that he has dipped. It's like Usain Bolt trying to beat his previous performance, which is still a world record. That is what we are doing here. And if I was President Mahama, I would be drinking tea over this. That is the truth.
Yeah, but Prof, let's talk about some specific issues here, all right?
Let me not go in the detail.
Yeah, but just respond to this for me. Just respond to this for me, all right? Council raised the concerns about galamsey, and generally the sentiment around the country is that we need some improved effort in the fight against galamsey. So government's action relative to galamsey, if you look at the mood of the country, people are not particularly happy about it. You also talk about, the standard of living, and that was one variable that was looked at. All right, and you heard what the people had to say about the standard of living. Just yesterday, PRC announced that there is an increment in tariffs. We've seen increment in tariffs. There's been increase in petrol prices. The standard of living among the people, even based on the poll, people are raising concerns. So yes, it's been 9 months.
Ms. Bao, that's again misinformation.
No, but that is what the poll said.
Let me show you what it means.
Show me what it means.
It says that almost over 60% of this country says their standard of living has improved.
But compare that from July to September.
We are talking about a government performance here.
Yeah, but you're doing a comparative analysis.
Majority. And what we are saying is that majority of Ghanaians said it has improved, though. They didn't say it's worse. They didn't say it's getting bad. When you are dealing with statistics, look at it. But understand the numbers.
But the comparison is also important. From July, when he did it, you look at the July approval rating, the opinion of the people about the standard of living in July, you compare it to September, and look, we've seen the decline.
Improved relative even to President Mahama's own performance. The first one was when he just took over. The first one was just what he took over. If you added
that, page 40. That's what he's talking about.
If you added that, I'm looking at it.
No, he's talking about page 40.
If you added that Akufo-Addo number here, their number here, you would have seen that that bar will be as short as the president himself was.
That's unfair. That's unfair. That's unfair. No, yeah, but that's...
Yeah, so...
but you don't talk about his...
Why?
No, but...
Is it not short?
No, but you can make the issues... But you can make the issues without referencing
He was the one talking about emotional statistics. And what do you call it?
Let me go into the data here. You should look at it this way. The president took over office, voted for massively by a significant proportion of government. The president committed to running a very lean government, a promise he delivered. One of the things you should expect is that people who expected that the president will replicate the gargantuan government we had in the past and everybody will get appointments directly. The president decided that I'm going to keep to below 60 ministers, and he has stuck to that. Some of them will register some disappointment. As you rightly indicated, there are some people who want this oral thing to go draconian. Pick them, go back, due process is being followed. And when these things start yielding fruits, you see that this noise you are seeing in the data. For me, I would rather describe this movement as noise in the data rather than any serious...
But this is the sentiment of the Ghanaian people.
You are just looking at data that was taken in 1 month. You see, Musa Dankwa has been consistent in his existence, and that's why I didn't want to go in there. But all the data was taken in 1 month. And you sit here and say it's over 3 months. If it's supposed to be over 3 months, there should have been some data taken in, let's say, August, the same data taken in September, then you can say, okay, it's a 3-month moving average. But still, I want to just say that it suffices. Let's go down this way. The president, again, decided that you had to take the very tough decisions to stabilize this economy. The unpopular decision of not rushing to overload the payroll and distort this economy, but rather say that let me stabilize things, grow this economy, and from the proceeds of the growth, we can distribute, start employing. You can imagine that you are even seeing these numbers when the government has not launched any massive employment program. We have just, what has happened is that we have managed to stabilize the cost of living. So even those who without jobs now are able to at least find a meal. But can you imagine if, let's say, by next year, we think we have arrived, and then we allow state agencies and other institutions to start hiring? Can you imagine that if we stabilize the rot in the cocoa sector and cocoa proceeds and returns begin increasing and farmers have more disposable income and they are employing and investing in other activities? Can you imagine what will happen? The investors and the companies that were leaving this country in their droves now come back because they have a predictable currency, they have a predictable inflationary trend, and then also they have a friendly business climate. And they start setting up and hiring again. Can you imagine where this will be? So it's a matter of people who want a quick fix versus a government that is committed to delivering sustainable development and sustainable returns to the people.
You think this is a sign of some people being a bit impatient?
I would say it's a sign of, yes, people expecting a quick fix. And I can understand. If we run this country like the way it was run, sack everybody that you think was not affiliated to you and fix in your guys, there would have been, these numbers would have been different. But one thing you need to take, you don't need to discount, is the fact that the president's performance now is over and above the people that voted for him. That means that he's actually improving.
All right, let me come.
And he's running against his own benchmark, not against your benchmark. Your benchmark is poo-poo, FF. My friend used to say F minus. But this F minus.
Let me come to Council now. Council, I mean, one of the variables that I was just trying to get the thought of, Prof, on has to do with the standard of living, because bottom line is always the bread and butter issues that concern the people. It's the ability to be able to take care of themselves, afford their daily meals. And you hear the people in July, they said in terms of the standard of living, look at it compared to the last 12 months, 59% of them said it has improved. As of July, 59% of them. Then now in September, you have 57% of them. So you have at least 2% of the population, based on the sample size, indicating to you that their standard of living has not improved. So you look at it, those who said it has worsened from 12%, and now we see a certain improvement even in that, 11% only. But in terms of those who say it is unchanged, you have 27% also saying it's unchanged, then 5% saying no opinion. But overall, in terms of the number of people who says it has improved, as at July, 59% of them say it has improved. Then you have at least 2% of them who says something has gone wrong. Even if it's one person whose standard of living has not improved, at least it should be concerning to government.
You think everybody's standard of living would rise up? It's not possible.
But shouldn't that be? That be the aim?
It should be the aim and objective.
But realistically, it's not possible.
Variables would not allow it to happen. Exchange rate CD.
So how do you approach it? How do you approach governance, having this in mind that yes, not everybody, what do you call it, standard of living will improve regardless of what you do. How do you approach that? How then do you go about it?
You've got to be able to have a plan in those areas where you can create the kind of jobs people can do and earn money. That is one thing both parties haven't been able to do.
They don't have a plan?
Please don't put words in my mouth. In terms of them being able to create the kind of jobs that would be sustainable. Haven't been able to do it. Look, if it so happens that President Mahama was a new president, then maybe we give him benefit of the doubt. But he's been a president before. At the time he was a president, what happened? Were those variables not there? President Akufo-Addo came and told us we've created X number of jobs. There's still that 2%, isn't there? And so it has got to do with making sure, and this is where I have a major challenge. Talk about private sector, this private sector, that private sector, this private sector, that. And yes, private sector is one area that can absorb a lot of jobs. How does private sector finance itself? In his government, when they were in power, what was interest rates? What was the bank rate? At least the governor today is trying to bring down the, what do they call that rate?
The policy rate.
The policy rate to affect interest rates so that companies can go in and get money. Were we able to add value? President Akufo-Addo brought in one district, one factory.
Yeah.
If he was able to concretize one district, one factory, what would that have meant? Adding value to your raw resources would increase revenue coming into the country, wouldn't it? Because you're exporting finished goods. Are we exporting finished goods today in this new government? We're not. So we need to look at the plan for this country. What is the vision? And I keep asking, what is the vision for Ghana in the different sectors? Not a party manifesto.
Reset.
What is the vision?
But how do we come to a certain consensus on the vision? Because no, Councillor, I just want to bring this in.
Let me ask you a question.
Just before you ask me though, I want to get your thoughts on this one.
Okay, you can ask me after.
Okay.
What's the vision for this country?
That's what I was coming to ask you.
No, what's the vision for this country? You are youth. At least you are the youngest person here. When you sit in your room and you hear them talking, and you ask yourself, what's the vision for this country? What's the vision? One party comes with their manifesto, they say, another party comes, they offload all that, and then they also bring their own. Is that not causing financial loss to the state? Because you use government press to do these projects? Is it not? Because we should get to a point where we have a plan. President Nkrumah used a plan, didn't he? We are celebrating him today. Did he not use a plan to build the quantum of factories he built? Did he not use a plan? And some of us have been saying, we need that plan to be collective. Everybody should be part and parcel of that plan to move the country forward. Would you say we are moving forward at this particular moment? Will you say that? Where the natural resources that can give us revenue, we are destroying it? Where's the plan? Where is the actual plan, the real plan for galamsey? Where's the plan? Yes, we are all trying to see how we can, make sure that we stop certain areas. There has to be a plan, and that plan.
How do we get all parties bound by a certain national plan? Because that has been the difficulty.
By putting everybody together. I was on the NDPC when we did the 40-year National Development Plan. Ask me how many MPP people were there. They were selected to come. Did they come? No, they didn't. Because as far as they were concerned, it's NDC who is in power. But NDPC is an institution that binds everybody. Everybody. I was in CPP. I wasn't in government. Been in government for over 30 years. But I was sitting by the table. The only person on MPP who was there was Ninoy Dona. He was the only person. And don't you think, they could have, if they came, we'd all collectively get that 40-year National Development Plan together? Yes, we did get it together. We did present it to President Akufo-Addo. What happened to it? Do you know what's in that document?
I have seen assets.
But do you know, if everybody was part and parcel of it, wouldn't the media now take it and go through the fine-tooth comb by advising the people? Has it happened? So let's stop this thing about, and we've come, and we've done this, and we've come, and we've done this, and we are sitting back. It has to be collective. Now, let me go to what Palgrave was saying. Palgrave was looking at statistics, and he was giving us some figures. When I said he left some out. Let me tell you the one he left out. Direction of the country, party affiliation. Right direction, MPP, 36%. That's the MPP who said it. Wrong direction, 51% by the MPP supporters. No opinion, 13%. NDC, 90% said the country was in the right direction. Wrong direction, 6%. No opinion, 4%. It all totals to 100%. If 51% of MPP people are saying that the country is in the wrong direction, you're quite not say by.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
We go and come. Because already, so far as they are concerned, their party is not in power. And whatever the government in power does, they would not agree.
So same can be said of the NDC?
51%.
So same can be said of the NDC?
But Senior, what I wanted you to stress is that more MPP members think the country is heading in the right direction than NDC members. NDC
NPP 36, NDC 90.
If you compare those who says it is not, there are more NDC members or more MPP members who feel that the country is heading in the right direction.
Look.
So this is the data, and Council, I'll come to you so you learn. Let me just read it out.
Yeah, about 36%.
Yeah, direction of the country. MPP, 36% of them, of the respondents who are MPP say it's in the right direction.
Exactly.
51% say it is in the wrong direction, and 13% of them said they have no opinion. When you come to the NDC, the respondents who are NDC, 90% of them said it's in the right direction. 6% of them said it is in the wrong direction, and 4% said they have no opinion. And you have 62% floating voters, 53% others, 55% non-disclosed, all saying that it's in the right direction, and 20%. So, I mean, Council, you can learn.
Let me ask you a question. You're a journalist. You are the fourth realm of the state. You are a young man. You have more future in front of you than I have more future in front of me. Would you say the country is in the right direction or the wrong direction? And don't tell me you are not supposed to answer this.
Of course I'm not.
I'm using it as a sample.
Yeah, of course I'm not.
I'm not using it as a sample. Would you say the country is in the right direction or not in the right direction compared to President Akufo-Addo's government? Now, take one thing and tell me whether it is.
But Council, you're in the best position to do that. You've seen successive governments more than I have.
I said you're a young man.
Yes.
It's not my future, it's your future.
But as much as possible in this position, I don't have an opinion to share.
What do you have an opinion?
I don't have an opinion to share.
What do you think?
I think we have more room for improvement.
But it's better.
We have more room for improvement.
No, but it's better.
Yeah, but we have more room for
improvement. But it's better. It's better than the former.
We have more room for improvement.
Look. Has this country ever, with all the coups we've gone through, has it ever stopped paying its bills? Has it ever? Has it ever stopped paying its bills? Did it not happen in his government? And that's a huge statement.
But they say that happened because of what they went through. The COVID disaster that they went through.
At the time.
And the impact on the economy around the world.
Everybody was shouting, let's go to the IMF. What did they tell us? We are a proud nation. We are this nation. We will not go. That short duration of time, do you know its impact on us? Do you know its impact on us? Do you know its impact on us? And then we go into a situation where people's savings that they rely
pension funds
are decimated. Has it happened before? Has it? So, I give President Mahama a year. After 1 year, I will judge whether he has done well or he hasn't done well.
All right, we'll come and read the messages very shortly. But Doc, let me come to you. Let me get your take, that we can read some messages and and be wrapping up the discussion.
Razak, Jantua is praise singing Mahama today.
Praise singing you.
But
I'm talking fact. What I talk, didn't happen.
I am very concerned around the table this morning. Because I think that one of the things that Musa Dankwa presents to us is an opportunity for governance to be improved. One of the things that Musa Dankwa presents to us is an opportunity for the ruling government to have a proper introspection of itself and steer affairs well. It is stated in the Ghanaian parlance that Nya Otre is anonymous in Ichiachia. And it is not wrong at all. These are the views of the Ghanaian people.
A certain percentage.
Oh, God. Maybe I should not speak.
But it's true, a certain percentage.
Maybe I should,
but the president was voted to be president for all.
Maybe I should not speak.
No, please, you can continue.
No, you see, because Razak, Jantua says that we have a lot of years ahead of us. Rightly so, we do. That is the reason why we must be honest and truthful to ourselves. So if we sit around this table and we talk around a certain percentage, then there's no need to have the discussion, which is why I think that Musa Dankwa should have stayed here on this panel conversation to bring context to the issue.
He should have.
Because you see, I am scared as a young person when we cannot have an opportunity to discuss the years that is ahead of us. Musa says that 67% of the population of Ghana are looking for a young leader. So yes, a time is going to come, the elderly people are going to sit back and give us wisdom for the young people to lead. So when some of these conversations are going on, it's driving governance and a part of it.
That isn't new.
Allow me.
That isn't new.
Your counsel, let him land.
Yeah,
let him land. Yeah, counsel, let him land.
So when Musa was saying the 67%, you didn't make a comment. President Rawlings was a military junta. Let's not forget that until he came into the democracy.
Okay, how old was President Nkrumah?
Okay. I don't know.
It's not new. It's not new.
Razak, I don't know. I mean, I have to...
Just land.
I cannot have an opinion.
You are making a point about that this data is an opportunity for reflection.
If I am in government and I look at data, I would analyze it very critically. And I'll not look at the places where I'm doing well. I'll look at the places that I am not doing well. Of course, I might not be a statistician, but I can understand data and analyze it. I will look at the places that I'm not doing well and try to do better. That's it. If you get a B+ in my leadership class, or you get a B+ in my corporate governance class, and you strive to get an A, your CGPA is reducing. And so for me, I'm troubled this morning, because if you and I, Razak, have a lot of years ahead of us, then we should be able to have a fair share of these conversations that are going on. But we should not get to a stage where we cannot even share our own opinion and objectively analyze it to advise the government. If the government of John Dramani Mahama does well, it's good for you and I, because we are Ghanaians. It's not just a small data of people, it's the sentiments that are on the ground. But of course, today I am told that I must not speak. I am told that I cannot share my opinion. I am told that
nobody has said
of course, I mean, from all the conversations that are going on.
Well, how do you respond to this, though? How do you respond to this? And I think that's the point that Council was also making, that even on the subject of the direction of the country, the data offered some nuance to it. And it does appear that a section of the people from your party are pushing the numbers up, and the assumption is the assumption is that it would be strange to see MPP people,
36%.
you know, what do you call it, MPP people, approving the president or giving the president post. So the assumption is that the sentiment from responded who are affiliated to your party is almost obvious.
You know, Raza, we can't do this to ourselves. Okay, we really cannot do this to ourselves. For me, when John Dramani Mahama began his presidency, I sat on national TV in the first few weeks, especially on the swearing in.
Yeah.
And I commended him. Okay? I'm an MPP person. Okay? When President John Dramani Mahama does well, I commend him. If he doesn't do well, I must also talk about it. And so if we are saying that this data is skewed because the people who are responding, a certain percentage belong to a particular political party, are they not Ghanaians? Do they not feel the pain that everybody is feeling? We cannot look at the data and look. I want to be as honest as I can with this data. And if the NDC would allow it, fine. If they feel that we don't have an opinion because it's a smaller section and Jantua is here praising John Dramani Mahama, I'm alarmed. Today, the PURC has increased electricity tariff to 1.14.
I'm making my point.
Okay. When I am making my point, I cannot make my point.
I don't tell you.
No. When I am making my point, I can't make my point.
Just land, so I can take some message and Prof will come in.
Praising John Dramani Mahama this morning, and I'm surprised.
What is wrong if he's praised?
Okay, well done.
What is wrong?
So fundamentally though, you think that he has landed. He has landed.
Prof, you have not even told us what EPA is doing on the illegal mining thing. Tell us something.
Anyway, let me just take some comments. Then, Prof, I'll come to you. You just made the point, and we'll wrap up. Okay, we don't have the name of the person commenting here. Is it who will say that we are not secured under this government? How was the last 8 years? We've seen criminals engage in open fire during daytime and bullion van robberies. He says he didn't add your name to it. Meshach says, the promise made by President Mahama to the people of Ashanti, Akim, not precisely Agogo, has been fulfilled due to the appeal by Honorable Ohene Kwame Frimpong. The government, through the Ministry of Education, has purchased all the tomatoes and the onions harvested by the farmers in Agogo, which they were initially crying out bitterly for buyers. This is what we call a listening president who never considered only his strongholds. Yeah, I've seen that video, and it's quite a nice thing. This one says, good morning, Richie P. from Techiman. Lawyer is not being fair this morning. What did the NDC say in opposition concerning galamsey issues? Some went to the extent of saying that galamsey could be dropped in just a week. And this morning, lawyer is telling us that 9 months is not enough to end galamsey.
Is it? Is it?
Okay. This one says, good morning. I think the NDC on your... I feel sorry. Okay, well, we don't want any... Just make your point without attacking anybody. Good morning. Lawyer Janto was speaking like a medical doctor during the 2024 elections campaign. He always speaks about kidney problems and dialysis. Today, because he has an appointment, he cannot speak the truth. Well, he's been doing that. He's been very strong on galamsey. He's been very strong on galamsey. I mean, he's been a very strong voice on galamsey. He said, tell the NDC representative that Musa Dankwa doesn't need to conduct a survey comparing the Nana Bawumia administration, the Mahama Nana administration. During Nana Bawumia's first term, he introduced and implemented the free senior high school policy. What significant initiative has the Mahama Jane government introduced and implemented? Someone said I should give Prof pen to write his points instead of interrupting. Al Hassan from Zainu says, good morning. The petition, Okay, we are not, okay, well, let me just read. The petition to investigate the former CJ Tokono is a welcome one. Yes, that's an interesting one. Somebody has written a petition to Yoko to investigate the former CJ for causing financial loss to the state. It's an interesting one. And someone says it's welcome. Okay, anyway, I saw that petition, really interesting one. Greetings, Joy Prime. We Ghanaians are not interested in percentages. All that we want is to have good drinking water, sustainable electricity and water tariff, adequate security protection, and good cost of living to become sustainable. Please, Mr. Professor Statistics, tell the president that we don't eat statistics. And to the MPP man, please, if he stop these party infighting and focus more on the government poor performance, the next ratings will drop. Okay, greetings, Nana Jantwa, for not criticizing Nana Akufo-Addo. Okay, I'm not sure the point you are making there, but we got it. Teacher Kujo from Tepa says, the NDC, just come, please. Ghanaians will rise to win power. If the MPP can organize well behind Dr. Bawumia, I don't think Doc will be happy with that. It will be great to enjoy in 2028. The galamsey state of emergency, 24-hour economy, 133 same jobs, 3 chefs and people. And he said many lies are already being exposed. The NDC, he goes on to make the point there. Let's just keep it civil. You can make your points without being too, harsh with your comment. Why is the NDC, Gasti says, why is the NDC, Prof, always on personal attacks? Was he on personal attacks? Okay, this is unfair, he says. Galamsey has gotten completely out of control, yet they keep making excuses. What happened to we will fight it with all our might? And now Mr. Jantwa, who was so loud in blaming former president for every inch, suddenly wants Ghanaians to come together to fight the problem.
I was saying it in their time. Wasn't I allowing people to share their opinion?
Good morning, Zach.
Right, I was saying it in their time.
Someone said,
I kept saying that they should come together.
Someone said, Prof, don't mind Palgrave. He, Charlie, let's be serious. Okay. This one is Akonsif Gariba from Tamale. Says, the greatest deception in Ghana now is President Mahama and the NDC party. Hey, all the things they made noise about in opposition have become worse, like the galamsey activities, high utility tariffs, and insecurity in the country is in its ascendancy. I will urge President Mahama to sit up because things are getting out of hand. And he gives his regard to Dr. Alhaji Bawumia. Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning. I totally agree with Ghanaians who are calling on government to sit up and fight galamsey. Galamsey itself is an act of terrorism against the state. And for that matter, galamseyers who are engaged in such act should not be treated with kid gloves. But my brother, the NDC in power for 8 years cannot solve it at all. It took the MPP 8 years for this 8 months, you mean? The hypocrisy and double standard by the MPP must stop. This is where the same people who took the LI 1462 to be passed in Parliament to allow functionaries, friends, and relatives into our forest reserves to destroy our water bodies.
It's 2462. 2462.
Yeah, so that's that. Okay, let me just read one more. Prof is doing very poor analysis, he says, as okay, he's talking about the sample size issue there. By comparing 90 million voters against 9,000 sample size for the survey. The fact is that the President Mahama has failed Ghanaians in just 9 months. Cost of living is very high, insecurity all over the country, very poor galamsey fight. Christian from Sandema said that. Good morning, he says. The outcome of Musa Dankwa work is good, but not surprising, because some Ghanaians expect an impossible speed from government. We must not use our impatience to discredit the government. Despite the decline, government performance is still on the high, which is a good sign. And finally, this one from Yao says, President Mahama should endeavor to continue the one district, one factory policy of the previous government to enable it to achieve his government. Well, it's been scrapped. The minister in his last budget statement, his first budget statement, it was, I mean, it didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
Oh, there was a secretariat and they scrapped it. But let me come to you, just make your point, and I think...
Yes, I think that... yes, as a government, we need to listen because we want to hit all the numbers right. So even if a section of the population is not happy, we ought to get them back on track. And that is what a listening government should do. So we expect the trend to go this way. Every government all over the world they go through this trend. There's a frenzy when you are elected, and then when you start taking tough decisions to correct, especially in a situation where this country was taken down to its knees, there will be some pain, but the pain will begin yielding fruits and people will be happy. What I think is an encouraging sign is the fact that 36% of MPP members think this country is headed in the right direction. And if I'm Pilgrim sitting here, I'll be asking myself, what can we do? Because just as the number that you got in the polls of your members are telling us that this country is headed in the right direction, there couldn't have been a better statistic now. But as for the numbers, I expect them to go. If you were looking at statistics and if they were actually scattered on and then you wanted to draw a line through them, you'll notice that you hit many of the dots because they would have clustered around. That's a performance that I expect. The spread is not too wide, it's not sporadic. There is a pattern that the president is staying way above 60%, which is a good. The last president was in his 30s when he left office. And I believe that if we keep these numbers going and President Mahama leaves even office with 50%, it will be better than Akufo-Addo's 8 years. But we expect that by the time the president is exiting, we should be hitting 70, if not 80. And that is where we want to be.
By the time he leaves power, you mean?
He leaves power, he should be hitting the high notes. There is nothing to suggest that President Mahama will not leave a lasting impression in this country based on what is happening. I expected these numbers to be worse, given the tough decisions that we have had to take to rescue this country. But the fact that they are still this high, and the fact that we still appeal to almost 40% of new patriotic members is an indication that this government is doing well. And maybe the functionaries like Pilgrim here should go home and do his work well and then know that what he's sitting here and saying, 36% of his own party people disagree with him.
Let me get some messages from Facebook and then I can wrap up. DJ Opedimo Felix from Kumasi Swame. The victory is there for MPP. What we need as a political party is unity and hard work. I love MPP. Greetings to lawyer Trechi, Deputy Secretary, Ashanti Region. Frederick Sechi says, since when did the MPP realize that the galamsey is getting out of hand, as he asked? Then, okay, we read this, we saw it in the messages. Cephas Logic says, what's the reason inviting Mr. Jantua when NDC man is here? Well, Mr. Jantua is with the CPP. So this is mainly because of his inability to curb galamsey menace. He goes, good morning. Birdman says, MPP never again. Good morning. This is John Augustus says, good morning. We should stop this comparison, focus on the right direction to the benefit of our nation. Good morning, everyone. He says MPP wouldn't deceive Ghanaians again. Instead of the entire party begging Ghanaians for what they did to us for the past 8 years, they are now behaving like angels and blaming Mahama's 9-month rule. NDC must start showing Ghanaians the real harm MPP did to the whole country before it's too late. He goes on to make those points. So those are the messages. We're going to wrap up now. Doc, I mean, vetting is over for your candidates. What's next for them?
Yes, so thank you very much. My candidate, Kennedy Japan, went for vetting, shared his dreams and visions with the vetting committee that was chaired by Dr. Akufo. Clearly, the vetting committee sees that he's the next president to succeed Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We've had two presidents. We've had John Ajako Akufo, we've had Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the next to succeed Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is Kennedy Japan. We go back to campaign on the field. We've done about 5 regions already. We have about 11 to go, and we are very confident that with the message that we are churning out to the young people, promising them jobs, promising them industrialization, agriculture, tourism, I mean, no doubt in my mind that when Kennedy is given a chance by the Ghanaian people, he'll be able to make a lasting impact. But to conclude, just to be able to state that we would compare John Dramani Mahama's 2012 to 2016 and 2025 to 2028, those years, we would compare that to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's 2017 to 2024. And I can tell you, without doing the research now, I can tell you that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's legacies will continue to stand tall than John Dramani Mahama's first term of 2012 to 2016 and now, as we speak. But we'll wait for him to end his tenure. And then we'll look at the monumental policies that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo put together.
Like the default.
From 2017 to 2024, and what John Dramani Mahama put together from 2012 to 2016 that made him lose the election, and then what he's putting together now in his legacy presidency.
All right. Council, we need to wrap up. Your party had a decent celebration over the week. We were there. We captured it at the mausoleum. They were there. But I'm not sure what the plan is. Every time Nkrumah birthday comes up, your party is busy, but then less activities from your party.
Nkrumah is for everybody. It's not for the CPP alone. And I keep telling you, we have to have the right introspection and think widely as a party and not individuals. The challenge I have with my party is the fact that a lot of people have personal interest and are thinking personal interest. All the splinter parties within the Nkrumah's movement, and I keep saying, should be able to come together as one. If that doesn't happen, let's forget it. Let's forget it. Now, what was Palgrave talking about in terms of President Akufo-Addo and the gravity of some of the things that the country went through President Akufo-Addo's tenure surpasses all the good he's done. That pain and hurt that Ghanaians have been through is going to take a long time for people to get over it. And I hope and pray that there's not going to be any bickering. Because I heard, what do you call it, Brani Champong, when he was being interviewed yesterday, that there's going to be jabbing. We are going to jab each other.
There's going to be more jabs.
What is that for?
Well, it's part of the campaign, isn't it?
What have you done this morning? It's not jabbing
where they are, standing for president, where they are at the present moment, and you look at the results of the 2024 election, they need to build confidence within the people.
All right, we need to wrap up now. Prof, EPA, you have been busy. Your CEO was on our sister station, Joy News, and she made a very strong call. She said she wants shoot to kill.
She's going down my route.
She wants shoot to kill. She said the military should fly across the galamsey zones.
Kill small.
And if that happens, people will go and tell this what the military
humanitarian rights.
Look at what humanitarian rights. Please, they are killing us.
Good morning to her.
Very radical.
Wherever she is. She has a unique way of communicating her views. And normally when she says them, people disagree, but eventually they get to see that she was making a lot of sense. So I'm not surprised. She meant that we have to be more resolute in terms of...
Ruthless. Resolute is too soft a word. Ruthless.
And I have also decided that I've said enough about
ruthless.
that. I don't want people to drag the narrative.
They are killing us all.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying that, you see, if you take this water, that like they were showing, 90% of it would have been filled by pits that these guys left. That's what you people will have to see. 90% of the bottle that Miracles Abort was showing on air would have been filled by galamsey pits that these guys left. So I don't want us.
They don't want to accept anything.
But I want to give Pelgrave an advice.
The NDC
it's my time. Let me land.
They don't want to accept anything.
I want to give an advice.
All right, we have to.
I want to give an advice. If you ever want to come back to power, never mention Nana Addo. Because he goes down as the West president.
It is not possible.
And this is a country that took us to our knees, went bankrupt, defaulted on paying.
You need to analyze Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's legacy on merit.
People's pensions.
Yes,
and
you must analyze Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's legacy on merit.
We are still out of the capital market.
Yes, all right. You should
You brought Akufo-Addo. You brought Akufo-Addo. So let me say it this way: that Akufo-Addo doesn't have a place in history if it comes to the best performance.
And John Dramani Mahama has a place in history.
And President Dramani Mahama, you see, we are cleaning your mess and you are pouring the water.
What kind of mess?
You are cleaning your mess. I know what you are doing because it's my last word. You are interjecting. No, you just don't want me to have my last word. I mean, this is very...
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's legacy in this country.
I know very well what you are doing.
And we're going to be back.
John Dramani Mahama.
Same time tomorrow.